Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Webber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. I am your host, and our co-host is here also. My name is Adam Roach, and you are, who are you?
I'm Jess Webber.
Yes, Webber. That is right. We are co-hosting the I Love Coaching podcast for you moving forward into 2025, and we're excited for our episode today. Jess, hit him over the head. What are we talking about?
We're talking all things goals today because I feel like it's an applicable topic to right now, end of year, but also launching into a new year. And let's be honest, we should be revisiting our goals all the time. So it's always an applicable concept.
Yeah. Let's have some fun here. Let's riff. Let's riff for our listeners in the space of why goals, right? Why goals? We all know at the end of the year it is goal planning session. We know at the beginning of the year it is high hopes for everybody. But I mean, truly, why goals? What do you think?
Well, I love the terminology I heard, or the phrase I heard one time, that goals are dreams with a deadline. So to me, that truly means that when you're setting intentionality around something that you've thought of that you want for yourself, you're converting it from that just idea into an action plan and something that is achievable.
Yeah, I love that. What are your thoughts on, and I'll jump into this too, what are your thoughts on how many goals should you set?
Ooh, that is a great question because the experts will say so many different things depending on who you're listening to.
Right.
And so, I really have come to this knowledge and understanding of fewer is better as long as they're bigger. Because of the idea that the bigger the goal, then some of those smaller goals that you might include either get achieved or they become obsolete along the way or path to the bigger goal.
Yeah.
So I think fewer, a singular goal that, works for your business, a singular personal goal, a singular health goal is a great place to start.
Yeah, I like that. I like the singularness. Though we just came off the summit and we had 10 or 11 speakers there, all in different genres of potential goal setting spaces. And you and I are both reading and have listened to now a happy pocket full of money, right? A happy pocket full of money. And the author says, which I was blown away by because I hadn't heard of it said this way. And then I attempted to do it and I got totally stumped. He said, lay out 30-year goals. 30-year goals. It's like, all right, that's kind of cool. 30 years. 30 years, I'll be 77. That's kind of fun to think about, right? 30 years, 77. And here's what he said. He said, start with a list of 100 and get to a maximum of 5,000. And I thought to myself, that's a lot of goals. And then I started to write them out, and I only got to 12. I can only get to 12 goals.
That's an interesting thing because it's the reverse of what I just said. But at the same time, I think it aligns because if you're sitting there thinking about what you want, you could have very small, achievable goals, and then you could have some of those bigger, hairy, audacious goals, impossible goals, depending on who you're listening to and how they frame that big thing. And so writing out everything you want from big to small can be a great exercise in helping you figure out what is the big thing to focus on so that those smaller ones either get achieved or they fall away because you realize that they're no longer necessary or valid.
Yeah, let me pull up some of my notes here from this book that I was reading. Here it is. And I'm going to read some excerpts here. He says, more goals, more images. Your mind will have more goals better when you achieve one, and you will keep the momentum. So basically what he's saying is, in the first step there, you list what you'd like to have for the next 30 years, he says. Everything you can think of, small and large, list of what will give you the most incredible life of your liking. So what he was saying in the book here, specific to goals, was if you set a singular goal, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Just know that if there's nothing on the back end of that goal once it's achieved, you'll lose momentum, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll lose momentum. And while that isn't a bad thing, we all know what gaining momentum feels like. And I thought to myself, wow, what an incredible exercise to sit out and list. First of all, just get to 100 goals and then just keep listing them out. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, what I heard in you say there, the key thing is that you can't pick a singular goal and it be a small goal.
Yeah.
So if you're going to focus on a singular thing, it needs to be that big, hairy, audacious goal. It needs to be that impossible dream. It needs to be very large and all-encompassing. So that way you do have momentum and small wins along the way.
Right.
If the only singular goal you're setting for yourself is one more sale or lose 10 pounds or something simple, no matter which vertical you're setting a goal in, then of course you're going to hit that finality and you're going to achieve it very, very quickly, probably, or relatively quickly at least. And then you're going to be like, I don't know where to go next.
Yeah.
The other piece of goal setting, though, that is fascinating, in looking at that, pocket full of money concept of writing down 100 or anything else, is, are you writing internal goals, things for yourself and things that will make you happy? Or are you also including goals that impact others? So are you seeking to create a life for yourself of, as John Maxwell says, significance, right, versus singularly focusing on goals that make you successful? And I think that's another massive thing to keep in mind here is when I'm talking big singular goals, they need to be big significance goals. Mm-hmm. They need to have impact outside of just you and your bank account. Yeah. And I think that helps you with some of those success goals along the way, some of those smaller momentum goals along the way. But when you're thinking bigger, you achieve more faster. You get to create new relationships, create new opportunities, and more comes your way, in all honesty, when you're not just focused on you.
Yeah, that's good. I love when John said that at the summit, the difference between success and significance, right? Mm-hmm. Success, everyone wants to have success. Don't get us wrong or John wrong, right? He said he loved making money, though at the end of the day, the success comes from your significance in impacting people, which is why we have the I Love Coaching vision statement, and that is to empower coaches to change and serve 100 million people through our real coaching blueprint. And if you know anything about our story, that is not an arbitrary number, 100 million. That came to me in what we call a beach chair moment. So that's cool. I like the way that you stated that, the big, hairy, audacious goals. And then everything leading up to them can be KPI measures, right? Those can be key performance indicators of are you not on track to achieve that goal?
Exactly. And that's where I think taking time, like your beach chair moment or something else, whether it's going away or locking yourself in a room, I don't really care, but taking time to be reflective and introspective, and whether you're a journaler or a hiker or something, just taking that space to really think about what you want that is bigger than you, I think is really the place to start with this. Because again, we can walk into any business planning clinic or, our summit or anything else and say, oh my gosh, well, I know in the health space, I want to lose X number of pounds, or I want to weigh X number, or my body fat percentage is this. In my business, I want to increase profitability or make this much in revenue, or you can pick numbers that are those key KPIs, those key performance indicators, and create data points that you call success points along your path. But again, if there's not something bigger attached to it, those get very boring and you feel like you hit a wall very quickly.
Right. Oh, so true. So true. let's, I know we're kind of a little macro in this language, though. Let's stay here just for a second, because what I also heard you say right there was attach a reward to a goal, right? How many times have we set goals in our lives and thought the goal was the reward? Many people, and there's nothing wrong with that, though the reward, though, is the goal is the goal, and a reward is something you give yourself for achieving the goal, as we've learned through Dan Martell. And that has just blown me away this past year, is attaching something to the goal, because all along I always thought the goal was the goal, right? That's what I wanted to achieve, which is true. We want to achieve the goal, though when you attach a reward to the goal, it makes hitting that goal so much better. I mean, what's Dan's story? He does it with supercars, right? He buys cars, puts them in warehouses, and leaves them there until he achieves the goal, which then unlocks the reward. How brilliant is that?
Well, I love that. And let's bring it down and back into the coaching space, because I do feel like you said we were talking very macro. I think this is a really relevant conversation for somebody building a coaching business, whether they're just starting or they're in it and they want to get bigger. First and foremost, what kind of coaching do you want to do? What do you want to be known for? But then along the way, it's not just, oh, I want to coach to make 6 figures and quit my 9 to 5, or I want to coach to make this much additional income, or those that can't do teach. So I want to be paid appropriately for the knowledge and expertise I have. Yeah. The reason behind why you start a coaching business is completely personal and up to you. But at the same time, there are stepping stones along the way to hitting that goal, or, that achievement level, like you said. So it might start out with, I am going to consistently post on my social media for 30 days. And what does that unlock? What goal? The goal is the number of posts and the consistency in it. The reward is, I'm going to buy myself a new, camera stand if I've earned the right to use it, because I know that I've been consistent in this goal. So you set a reward that aligns with the goal, and it doesn't always have to be a supercar. Yeah. And you can level or step those up over time. So the first goal might be something as simple as, I'm going to post consistently on social media for 30 days. Then it might be, I'm going to grow my followers to, 20% more than what I currently have, and make sure that I DM everyone. And again, setting success metrics around it and then setting rewards around it can really create that momentum to hitting the bigger goal that you have for yourself.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So let's give some steps here. Okay. Right. So we've been talking macro, though I want to bring micro into this conversation from a mindset standpoint. You know me, I love the mindset. I love the challenge of the mindset. And what we need to share, what I feel we need to share with the listeners right now, is they won't achieve their goals unless they kill something from their past. Because maybe they haven't achieved ever the goal that they set out to, and something in their past is stopping them. Something in their past as it relates to probably their mindset around their belief, right? What do we know? The 10x, what was it? 10x amplified, 10x version of yourself amplified. The very first thing is having a vision, right? What do you want? What are you looking to create? The second step is having the belief. And then the third step is, how much time during the day do you stay in the belief that you believe the vision will come to life, right? And how much of our past, we'll call it the devil in the past, how much of the devil in the past impacts and dictates what you do in the present?
Yeah.
I mean, we can get really deep here and say, you have a fear of judgment, you have a fear of rejection, you have a fear of success. And so therefore, your future outcome is very bleak unless you change something from the past or kill it, right?
100%. And you know what? I find that we see this pop up with our coaches in our community when they're new to the community, more than I see it in any other space. And I find that fascinating how, you can have an amazing real estate agent who's done hundreds or thousands of transactions and millions in GCI, gross commission income. They've made a lot of money and they've been very successful. But the second you ask them to coach on what they've learned over the years, they have this incredible fear, like you said, of success or judgment or failure. And there'll be imposter syndrome and all these things. And it's like, if you go back to setting that goal, creating that goal, and creating the rewards around those goals that amp up or create that momentum, you're going to find that you already have all the knowledge you possibly need, because you're sharing your own experiences, your own success path, all those things. It was just changing the belief. So you set the vision, then you work on the belief.
Yeah,
and I think that's a key part of goals, is you have to set things that are achievable.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and tell you at 5'9" that I want to set a goal of being 75 pounds. Like, that's not even attainable. It's not possible. So make sure that your goals are achievable. And yet, I can sit here and talk about body fat percentage or something else that is an achievable thing in a health journey or a business journey. You can say it's revenue, it's number of clients, it's number of lives changed and served, like we have in the I Love Coaching statement.
Mm-hmm. My favorite is, we're saying in the coaching language here, of past beliefs. And ironically, I was just lead generating before this recording. And I had someone that I was chatting with, and the individual said, yes, I coach and mentor my team, though I'm afraid to do it on the outside. And I thought, interesting. So I said, what specifically are you afraid of? And the answer was, I'm not afraid to coach. I'm afraid I don't know what to charge. And I thought, wow, how fun is that? I mean, walked right into my ability to engage with that. So I thought it's fascinating. So again, if you're listening to this and you're a coach, and we're talking about goal setting here, you may have a goal outward facing for a number of coaching clients. That's cool. You may have a goal for time spent working with those clients. That's cool. Though, do you really believe that the amount that you have set is the amount that you deserve? Because you get what you deserve, right? The value, you get what you deserve based on the value that you pour into other people, and they believe that to be a monetary value. They'll give you the monetary amount for the value that they believe it is.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So it's funny, because I actually did this right here. I did a help of a goal planning session today with one of my clients in Texas. And that was one of the questions from this group of realtors was, I don't know if I deserve the amount of money that's coming to me. And I thought, wow. We're getting off topic here, but that's a whole nother podcast, and that's called relationship of money, right? What is your relationship with money? It's so fascinating.
Well, it's not, though, because it sounds like they don't have a vision, and they haven't outlined a goal with what to do with that to achieve that vision. Because that's the thing is, we've heard the phrase growing up in the real estate industry background that we both have of, money is good for the good it can do. Sure. And so I never want to have a conversation focused on, like we said, success. It's what do they want that creates significance? Right. And the money is a tool to do that. So, if you are creating a coaching business, for example, is the money going to come help you with freedom in time to leave another job? Is it freedom in time to buy leverage to have help with something else? Say like you're not a social media person, or you're not an operations person, or something like that. What is that money going to do that's going to further your vision and help you achieve your goals? Right. Because the end goal should not just be the dollars.
Yeah, no. Because here's the thing. Most people don't have a good relationship with money.
Exactly.
And so therefore, the fear of success will cause them not to achieve the dollar amount outcome that they're looking to accomplish. Mm-hmm. We see that all the freaking time. Though if you attach a trip, or if you attach a consumer product to it, or whatever, or attach a donation amount to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating how the mindset changes then to focus on the reward and not the monetary goal, even though the monetary goal shows up, because then the reward is given.
Yeah. Well, you're almost gamifying goal achievement by creating those rewards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a personal one of mine that throws people off all the time is, you know, I talk about my son's health journey. He was born with heart defects. You know, we've got surgery number 6 scheduled here in another month or so. And yet I am very passionate about helping other families who have heart defects and being a part of an organization that helps fund research for that to help other kids who are born with them moving forward. Well, those research grants are $150,000 a grant, which is a large chunk of change in comparison to so many other, you know, amazing giving opportunities, right? And I tell people all the time, I'm like, part of my big vision for my life is making enough money that we as a family can easily walk into the gala every year and make a donation for an entire grant. And that's just the start. I mean, if I could pay for 10, that's even better. But the idea is I want to create a big life so that I can go impact these other families that are being impacted by the same thing that we as a family were impacted by 4 years ago. I just use the word impact a lot. Don't play a drinking game with this episode, please. But my point in saying that is not to make it about me, but it's talking about my goals financially, my goals for my coaching business, my goals for I Love Coaching, all of that. The reward becomes the opportunity, like you said, to make that donation. But that only comes when I've hit several other metrics along the way, because I'm not just writing a check for $150,000 in February when the next one is.
Right. So I want to make sure that the listeners are understanding what we're saying here. We're not saying don't make goals that are specific to monetary gains. We're not saying that. What we're saying is set those goals. We've set those goals internally at I Love Coaching for the community, and attach a reward to those either KPIs that you're going along the way to, or to the end goal, so that again you can impact and or have significance around achieving that goal.
Yeah, basically you take your 100 list of goals. There can be monetary goals in that, there can be success goals in that, but they should not be the big hairy audacious goal.
That's right. Yep. And here's why. Well, I'll say it again. You've set that before. All of you listening right now, you've set that monetary goal before and you didn't accomplish it. Why? Mm-hmm. Because you don't have a good relationship with money one way, shape, or form, and it's not a motivator for you. It's not. If it was a motivator for you, you would all be billionaires by now. Right? I mean, come on, let's be real. It's not. The money motivation, when people say they're motivated by money, I will call BS unless they're a billionaire. Right? Or a multi-gazillionaire, right? The multi-gazillionaire, whatever. Money sometimes is a deterring factor in driving to that as the singular goal. You've got to get a 10x vision of yourself that is in a significant space. Mm-hmm. Right? And that 10x vision of yourself is, gosh, when you felt the most accomplished, when you felt the most confident, when you had clarity in your vision, when you had clarity in your beliefs, crystal clear clarity, and you walked with true intentionality every single day, and you walked with your head up, your shoulders back, and you smiled all along the way, right? And that could be created because you paid that $150,000, or it could be created because you put $10 million in the bank. Though, what's really going to cause that 10x version of yourself every single day to stay in a space of time, belief, and then vision to accomplish your goals?
I love it.
I get a little fired up about this because goals are so stinking fun if you set them the right way. I think goals can also, on the flip side, as we've talked a little bit here, be they can be deterrents. They can be, I don't believe I can achieve that, or it's too big, or something along those lines. And that's, you got to deal with that.
The other piece of goal setting that I have found in working with entrepreneurs is they feel busy. And so they'll think about that big future goal. And they're like, well, I'll start next week. I'll start next month. I'll start next time I collect revenue. And the thing is if you're delaying the path towards that achievement and delaying the action to achieve the goal, I can guarantee you almost that you're not going to hit that goal. And you're certainly not going to hit it in the time frame that you want, because you're already setting yourself up for failure in terms of mindset around that goal from the outset, from the inception of it, because you're not taking action today.
That's right. Yep. There's 3 things that they will do. The first thing they'll do is they'll stall, right? So if you aren't out bought in, if you don't have the belief, if you're not spending 16 hours a day in the belief state of your vision and your goals, you will stall. You'll stall. You all have stalled before. I've stalled before. Jess has stalled before. We've all stalled before. What comes next? You sabotage. You start to sabotage. What is a sabotage? I'll do it tomorrow. What is a sabotage? It's not the priority, right? When you decide that the vision will come to life and you believe it 16 hours a day, you will remove all sabotage. And then the last thing, so you have stall, you have sabotage, and the last thing you do, we'll call it the 3 S's. You will sell. All right, you'll just sell it down the river. You'll give up. You'll quit. You'll punt. You'll say, next year I'll try to do this. Right? How many people do that with their diets? How many people do that with the gym? How many people do that with their giving, their tithing, whatever it may be? I'll start next year. Well, the beauty of that language right now is, what is today? Today is we're somewhere at the end of the year right now. You have a few more days before you get to start over. So that's kind of fun.
I would start over tomorrow. I wouldn't wait for the year. That's the thing. I've seen it time and time again that we create these mental blocks, because we're not creating the space and the time on our calendar for our goals, and we're not reviewing our goals regularly. We haven't prioritized them.
Right.
That we just let it go. How many, like you said, New Year's resolutions is a great example of how many people set goals and intentionality for their year, and then the last time they visit it is like January 7.
Right. Totally. Let me read you what the 7 steps are that he says from the Happy Pocket Full of Money. And here's what I love about this book. It's not even really about money. It's about wealth. And here's what he defines as wealth. Wealth is just happiness, right? And he goes through all of it. So let me read you these 7 steps. The first one we've already covered, and that is list what you'd like to have for the next 30 years. Everything you can think of, small and large. List what that will give. You the most. List of what will give you the most incredible life of your liking. Go from 100 up to 5,000. Step number 2. Right next to each. I love this. The reason why you wrote that goal down. Love that. That's so good. Number 3, here comes the vision board. Create images of the goals and review it twice a day. My family and I, we do vision boards, digital vision boards every single year when we go down to Florida towards the end of the year. Number 4, every day read your list for 20 minutes twice a day. Now let's pause there for a second. I love that because that's not something that I even do. I see my vision board. It's on my phone. It's on my computer screen. It's in a frame in my office. I don't visualize it. And that's what he says to do, is visualize it for 20 minutes twice a day. And here's what we know what happens in visualization. In visualization, the brain doesn't know the difference between true and false. So the more you visualize the goals, the more your brain will actually go out and try to find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, it's the same concept of, you talk about a specific make and model of a car and you're like, oh, I never see those on the road. And then 5 seconds after you study the make and model and learn a little bit about it or have that conversation, you see them everywhere. And it's because you literally have to train your brain to look for that, to find those pathways, to take the steps that are necessary. And if you're not looking at those goals regularly, whether it's through the vision board or looking at the list and visiting it, which I love that idea. My nerdy systems brain is like, ooh, I'll type them in like a spreadsheet or a Word doc, and then I'll link that to a calendar event in my calendar, and then I can just click it every single day and look at them, because that's the kind of person I am.
I'll put mine in a spreadsheet. You can just put a link in my calendar. That'd be
okay. I can do that for you. But point being is if you create micro habits that help you move towards these goals, they're going to be achieved so much faster.
Yes.
And people always overcomplicate habits just like they overcomplicate their goals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I love this concept of do it and do it simply and do it daily, because we know consistency compounds. And if you're not doing something consistently, then it's not going to be achieved. That's the bottom line.
One of the examples that he gives in the book with that one is he talks about furniture in your house, right? So, and I can't do this. Dana does this really well. She'll see a space in the house and will think a piece of furniture needs to go there. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what piece of furniture is even going to fit there, though, whatever. And then we go out and we furniture shop, right? So she's already visually seen it in her head, and now she has to go realize it. And that's the cool part that he talks about in the book of he even talks about quantum physics and how that relates to goals. And she will go and we will go to, Lord help me, so many furniture shops here in Charleston until the visualization of what's in her head becomes a reality. I mean, what's the difference between that and the goals and the visualizing? There's absolutely no difference. And then guess what happens? Then it gets purchased, then it gets put in the car, then it gets taken home, and the realization of that goal, of that piece of furniture in that one space happens. It becomes a reality.
100%. I'm only laughing because I do the exact same thing with furniture and home good items. And my husband makes fun of me because I will have that idea in my head of, I need this rug to look a specific way, to be a certain color, a certain size, a certain feel, or a certain whatever. And we'll go around to all those stores, like you said, and I'll be like, no, it's too geometric. No, it's too dark. No, it's too blah, blah, blah. And it's a running joke with us now. But when you spend time and you know what you want, right, and you can see it clearly, it makes the process of getting there so much simpler because you don't get distracted by other things.
That's right.
So, I mean, I know the furniture and the rug is a silly example, but it's true. If you are paying attention to your goals every day, you're going to get there so much faster. And those of us with ADHD are not going to get nearly as many distracted rabbit trails happening if you're staying on top of what you actually want. And I love that idea.
Listen to what he says about number 5, because it's exactly what we're talking about. Number 5 says, then, here, and now. Do something that takes you closer to your goal. Act deliberately. Let's keep that furniture analogy going, right? You act deliberately. Do something then, here, and now. Act deliberately. You have to take action every single day towards the visualization and then towards the goal to move it closer to reality. So good. Number 6. Kind of what we're talking about here with the significant space. Do everything with gratitude. Oh, I thought that language was so good. He says, think and speak with gratitude, knowing that you are grateful for all these thoughts and accomplishments. And the last thing he says, which I believe is totally undervalued and underacted upon, and that is enjoy experiencing your goals and the fruits when you achieve them. How many times, that's his 7 steps to goals. How many times do we accomplish a goal, high five, and then move on?
Well, that goes right back to the conversation about rewards.
We're doing this internally right now. I'm going to call ourselves out. We threw one of the most incredible summits 2 years in a row now, but actually 5 years in a row, but you and I 2 years in a row now in Charleston, where we took over the most highly sought after performing arts center in Charleston. We took their largest ballroom. We filled it to the best of our abilities. We had the most amazing 2-day experience with so many amazing world-class speakers, including John Maxwell. You and I have not celebrated that success. Isn't that fascinating? What are we doing?
That's because in my head, it was like, hey, I accomplished the thing. I did the thing. The goal is achieved, but we didn't set rewards around it. We failed in that respect. And then we moved on to new goals with more exciting rewards attached, which is part of the reason that it was like, oh, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm. Though, let's stay there and talk internally here for a second, because we had over 200 plus people at this event who were massively impacted. So was it a successful event? It broke even. Was it a significant event? Yes, because so many people had their lives impacted one way, shape, or form. Whether that was through whether that was through the health dudes that were there, whether it was through the amazing podcast lady Leanne who was there, whether it was through the spiritual component through either John Maxwell or Tyler Davis, or the worshiping music that we had. I mean, there were so many amazing speakers that the significance in that room for 2 days was felt by many.
It was. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the reason it was significant to so many, though, was because we were very intentional with our vision. We went into this with the intention of it being a moneymaker for our company. Sure. We went into it with an impact goal.
Yep.
And I think we definitely achieved that, if not exceeded that, because that was our focus. And then the success was a byproduct of it.
Yep.
And I think that is where we have gotten really intentional over the last 2 years in our partnership together. Mm-hmm. And it's been a really interesting journey to start helping others get to that point as well. Is right. What kind of impact do you want to have? What goal? What is your vision for that? And then everything else comes with it.
Yeah, 100%. Love that. All right, let's land this plane. So what should we say in the final messaging here of the goal setting podcast? By the way, we didn't really talk about tracking, right? I think the tracking in the goal setting space is something that is massively overlooked. So we can talk about this briefly, though I want to give everyone who's listening right now what we call our one sheet. And the one sheet is exactly what it sounds like. It is a one pager that is one sheet of tracking pretty much your financial space, your health space, your bucket list space, your highlight space, meaning your last year's highlights and your upcoming highlights, and then different areas of your wheel of life: health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, giving, leadership. And we call it the one sheet. So if you want a tracking device as such, go to my Instagram, Adam R. Roach, DM me the word one sheet, and I'll shoot that over to you. So we didn't talk about tracking, Jess.
Yeah, no, that's very kind of you. I love that thing because of the fact that it keeps things simple. Yes. And you don't have to have it all done in one day. That's the other thing that I think people get overwhelmed by when we talk data and metrics and tracking and KPIs and all those fun, trigger words for some. But the thing is if you set the goal and intentionality, you start tracking the things that are going to impact that. And then you can add to it, because you should be achieving those smaller ones along the way, and you can check those off and move on to the next. So again, go through something, whether it's the one sheet or you read a Pocket Full of Money, and you follow their process for setting goals. Whatever the case may be, whatever the process and path you choose, follow through with it is all I want to really say here. Be intentional with it. Pick something that's simple, and then definitely track it, because if you've been around for a hot minute, you've probably heard the term SMART goals. You want specific, measurable, achievable, SMAR, what is it? Reachable and timely. Relatable and timely. Yes. Yeah. SMART. Sorry. Dyslexia and acronyms are not my best friend. But point being, you want to have those goals that you can track and that do have metrics. You don't want to just set something arbitrarily, which is why, even Adam's big, hairy, audacious goal for I Love Coaching that he created of 100 million lives is still a metric.
Yes.
It's still achievable, because there's more than that many people on the planet. You didn't say 100 billion lives or 100 trillion lives or something crazy like that.
My mom wanted to raise ugly kids, but she didn't raise dumb ones, all right? There's 100 million people, not 100 billion. Yeah.
I love it. And honestly, so DM Adam if you want the one sheet. DM me if you need help being simple.
Yep.
So Coach Jess Webber on Instagram, same thing. If you need help, somebody looking at something, go ahead. We're here to help. And that's the bottom line in all of this is we want to change lives through coaching.
That's right. Well, we are changing lives through coaching, right? We need to reward ourselves that we've been doing this now in our community model for the last 2 years, actually. And the impact that these coaches are having based on the framework that we've given them through building their coaching company, I mean, they're having massive impact and it's showing. So if you're a coach and either you feel like you're on a lone island, or if you feel your framework isn't right to achieve the numbers that you want to achieve, or you are good at goal setting, but you're not great at goal setting, you need to come check out our community at I Love Coaching. Yep, you need to. Yep, that's my only call to action. DM me and we'll start chatting. Jess, great job. This has been a great podcast on goal setting. So here's what I want to do next is if you like this, great. Download it and subscribe to the I Love Coaching podcast. And if you want to leave us a review, leave us a review. We will be doing this all year. That's all we have for you. Until next time. See you. Bye.